Hello and welcome to Rebels Radio, latest interview. I'm joined by Joint Manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Very well, John, yourself?
Yeah, good. Not too bad at all. Looking forward to Saturday, but we're here to talk about Tuesday in Biggleswade.
Okay.
Your team selection for it was, again, different to the game on Saturday against Banbury United. What were your reasons behind that?
There was only one change, obviously, Alex Whittam coming for George Frith. To be honest, there's not much between them at the moment. We've got a good squad of players, so it's very difficult to choose, who's going to play in what games. We just felt that Alex was playing up against his old side, Biggleswade, and felt that that might give him an extra 10%. Harsh on George because I thought George played quite well against Banbury anyway. But I'm sure he'll come back into the side this weekend, and he's a good player. So it's just decisions we have to make. We can only play 11 players. We've got 18, 19 players that want to be playing at the moment. So it's just we mixed up very slightly.
And obviously, you know Biggleswade pretty well from both your time at Slough and Godalming, and also particularly the management team and their style of play.
Yeah.
How does that affect how you go into one of those games?
I don't think it affects it. Obviously, myself and Nunny, are very friendly. We talk sort of most days on the phone, and we have a bit of a laugh and a crack. And
does Unders get jealous?
It probably gets a little bit jealous, to be honest. But no, we didn't sort of prepare any other way than we would do, for another game. It's about sort of going to get the 3 points. You put your friendship aside, and to be fair, we still had a little bit of banter on the sidelines, and I think there's a mutual respect between the two teams, which obviously comes from the management side. But at the end of the day, the players are out on the pitch to win a game of football, so they don't really think too much about that. So. And
looking back at the game, how do you think you started?
Yeah, we played well. We're really pleased on Tuesday night. I thought we played some excellent football. Throughout the evening, we had a lot of possession. Obviously myself and Unders talked about it and had a good chat with Nunny, the next day about the game. And, I felt we had a lot of possession. We dominated the game in possession-wise, but probably on chances alone, it was probably a pretty even game. They had some good chances, as did we. We maybe should have done a little bit more with all the possession we had. However, we were very patient, which I was really pleased at. And I think on another day, we had some good chances first half, and on another day we might have had a couple of goals before half time, and it might have been a different game. But it was a good game between two good sides, if I'm honest.
What did you say at half time in the changing room? Obviously went in even, but Johnny Dyer went off injured.
Yeah. That was a straight replacement with Eddie. To be honest, I think probably 15-20 minutes beforehand, in the first half, Biggleswade had started to sit off us a little bit more, because at that time we'd been passing. We'd been getting some good passing movements, and I felt that they sat back to sort of get their shape and sort of not allow us any space in behind them. So we just said, it was important that when we did have the ball, to try and move it quickly, to try and move them out of position if we could. But it was very much of go and do the same thing, because the work rate was excellent, and the only slight negative was the fact that we weren't in front.
Yeah, and so the pressure carried on early into the second half, and then came a few substitutes, which kind of changed the ebb and the flow of the game a little bit. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I felt first 20 minutes again, second half, we were firmly on top. We'd had a lot of possession, but I think if you look at the highlights, we didn't actually create an awful lot of chances in that period, but we had the vast majority of the game. We had a few chances, but I wouldn't sit there and say they were great chances or anything like that. They then made the substitution, brought Fowler on up front, and it changed the way they played. They went to 4-4-2, and he come on and done really well. To be fair, he caused us a few problems, and then they started to get back into the game, and probably had a sort of 15-minute spell where they were on top of the game, and then they had a few chances which they could have scored from. And then we went up the other end and scored probably against a run of play at that point.
Yeah, before that point, did you think it just wasn't? It was going to be a draw? Do you think it was one of those nights where the game was going to peter out, both sides missing a host of chances?
I don't know. I always felt that the game was pretty open in terms of the sides. Both sides were creating chances. So I always felt that that one goal might have just done it, or might have won the game. But we went up and obviously scored through Scott Harris, and yeah, I think it was probably a little bit against the run of play at that time. But however, I felt that we deserved it over the course of the game. And then at that point you're sitting there thinking, right, okay. And to be fair, people talk, because obviously we've conceded a last minute goal. People talk about you sitting back and everything. We didn't sit back at all. We kept on playing.
You created quite a few chances.
We created more chances after we scored. I think we actually sort of took control of the game a bit then. And then the last sort of five minutes or so, they started to create a few more chances, and then obviously the goal right at the end.
Yeah, how does that feel? Obviously, at 2 Tuesdays, 2 last-minute equalisers to take it away from 3 points to 1. Is it something you're concerned about? Is it just part of football?
That's part of football. I think John posted on the forum on Wednesday. I think there was something like nine score draws in the Football League on Tuesday night, and 7 of which were last-minute equalisers. It's just the nature of the game. When a side is 1 goal to the good, the opposite side, as you get closer to the end, start throwing everything at it, and it's usually that they either equalise or the other side go and get a second goal. Like we did at Burnham, exactly like that. And on another day at Burnham, they could have got an equaliser, and we only had a point there. So that's how football is. So not worried about it. I mean,
what was said in the dressing room afterwards?
No, listen, we went in, we were absolutely delighted with the performance.
Didn't feel deflated at all?
Yeah, of course. It always feels like a loss when you've conceded in the last minute, especially a goal whereby effectively Craig Daniels looked across the ball, and it's just got so much power on it, and as it sat up nicely, it's just ended up in the top corner. So we just said there's nothing you can do about it. Normally you sort of look at every aspect of every goal you concede and what could you have done different. And to be honest, there wasn't much we could have done, because they won the ball back in their own half. They played about 4 passes, and it was a good bit of football from Biggleswade. And then the lads just, crossed it, and it sat up nicely. But the same thing happened for us, previous week at Hereford, when Dobbo went to cross the ball and it's ended up in the back of the net. So it's football, it's disappointing. Yes, the lads were a little bit deflated, but at the same time,
you'd have taken being unbeaten after 4, wouldn't you?
Absolutely, and to be honest, we haven't been behind yet. It's 4 games into a season and we haven't been behind, so that's a pretty good start at this stage.
So what's the activity been for the rest of the week? Any players getting game time? Have you had them in training this week?
No, we gave them a night off. It's the first night they've had off since the first weekend in pre-season. So they've been going at it pretty hard for sort of 7-8 weeks now, and with the travelling to Hereford last Tuesday, and the fact that we're going to Portchester Saturday, and then obviously a game on the Monday, we felt that the players that have been playing have done more than enough, and felt that they needed a night off tonight. Because there's 1 or 2 little niggles. With respect, there's obviously players who haven't been playing, so Scott Harris and Jake Parsons are both going to be going out on loan this weekend, and both should be training tonight with the respective clubs. You've got sort of 1 or 2 others, obviously Adam Cornell and Sean Fraser both had 90 minutes last night for Bracknell Town.
Cornell scored.
Yeah, Adam Cornell scored 1 and set up 2, I believe, and they both did 90 minutes, so that was positive. So we just felt that it was right not to do anything tonight.
And you've been a busy bee around all the grounds, watching lots of the other teams in the league. What do you know about Poulton ahead of Saturday? Yeah,
we watched them obviously at Hitchin, with yourself and John, and I mean they're very much similar to a lot of sides in this league. They're going to work really hard. They've got some good individual players. They're hard to break down, which is you look at their results. I know they've lost 3 games, but the 3 games have all been by the odd goal. So they're not an easy side to beat. So we know we're in for a tough game. It's a lovely place over at Portchester. I've been there a few times. When I was playing, and the pitch will be great. It's a nice surroundings. Lovely people down in that neck of the woods. So we're really looking forward to it. It allows us to get on the coach, get all the boys together. You know, for some of them it would be their first coach trip with Slough, and you know, we often have good days when we get a coach.
Who's in the squad for Saturday? What's the injury update?
Well, at the moment, we're not expecting Johnny Dyer to be fit. We're still waiting to find out, you know, to the extent of what it is, but we think it might be a cracked rib or something along those lines, which is a blow. As I mentioned, Jake Parsons will be getting 2 games for Flackwell Heath over the weekend, and Scott Harris will be getting 2 games for Ashford Town over the weekend. We need them both fit, and you know, it's a perfect opportunity to get them 2 quick 90 minutes. So they'll be doing that. That which obviously means, you know, that it opens up a little bit of space into the squad, with obviously Johnny not being fit as well. So Ben Ebb will come back into the squad, as will Adam Cornell, and Luke Knight we're expecting to be available for the bench.
Brilliant. Well, we're looking forward to Saturday. Hopefully it'll be a good day out and a good trip. Get plenty of Slough fans down there, and then another game on Monday afternoon. How do you prepare for that, 2 games in such a short period of time?
It's difficult, you know. It's you know, we obviously ask the lads to look after themselves over the weekend, you know, because you're literally getting sort of 48 hours rest, and obviously with the travelling as well to Poulton. So there's not an awful lot you can do. I mean, we will make 1 or 2 changes over the weekend, you know, to make sure that we're as fresh as we can be. We've got it in our mind on how we're going to play at Poulton and how we're going to play against Chesham, having watched both sides. Obviously, I was at Chesham, Cambridge City versus Chesham last night. So we've got an idea on how we're going to play in both games, and we'll set up the sides accordingly.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, Neil. We look forward to speaking to you after the weekend. What would be a good return from the weekend? I know you don't ever like doing predictions, but what is it? Keep the unbeaten record, take 4 points,
yeah,
take 6
I mean,
points?
You know, if you offered me 4 points now, I think we'd I'll bite your hands off, really, because that would mean we're unbeaten after 6 games. I mean, yeah, you know, we don't like to make predictions, but we just want to go and work hard in both games and give a good account of ourselves. And if that means that we can stay unbeaten, you know, that would be fantastic. But you know, we're up against, you know, a side in Poulton that got promoted in the same way that we did, with an absolutely fantastic win at Merthyr, who hadn't been beaten in 21 home games prior to that, and then obviously Chesham, who granted they've lost a number of players from last season, but for the last few years they've been continuously in and around the playoffs, and they would expect to be in and around the playoffs again this year. You know, they've obviously brought in some good players, and you know, and I was impressed with them. I thought they were very unlucky last night to not come away with anything. You know, Cambridge scored in the first half, and Chesham were you know, very much on top for the whole of the second half, and it was only a real good rearguard performance and goalkeeping performance from Cambridge City that stopped them from coming back with anything.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you for your time as ever. Look forward to Poulton and the game at Holloway's on Monday. Hopefully plenty of people get down there. If anyone wants to ask any questions of the managers but doesn't want to do it directly, please contact us at MyFC Rebels Radio, and we will endeavour to put the 2 managers under the spotlight. But otherwise, we'll speak to you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you.